So I've tried to stay away from talking about this, mainly because a lot of other YouTubers have covered the story, and I'm not a big fan of making lots of videos on sexual abuse, because I find the topic very sensitive to me, and I become very sad and just discouraged usually when I discuss it on my channel. Even if it's videos, helping people, just talking about the topic for me is difficult, so it's not something that I always jump the gun on. Oh, I want to talk about sexual abuse, or I want to talk about molestation. It's not things that I enjoy talking about for the most part. But after last night, I'm sure you know about the whole Josh Duggar shit that's went down, the big Christian family, and they had 5 daughters, and Josh Duggar, his father Jim Bob, Josh Duggar molested his daughters. They're his sisters, essentially. One of the children were single digits. I think she was like 8 or 9, according to reports. But what I find so disgusting, and I can't use the video footage because Fox News is a bitch and they'll copyright strike my video. It's linked down below. You can watch the full interview. It was one of the hardest things for me to watch, and that's coming from someone who can see a lot of things and not get grossed out or just disgusted or repulsed by. And this video, first of all, it's Fox News, so you have a terrible interviewer, but the good thing about this interviewer is the interviewer always asks, almost constantly asks about the children and how they felt and what happened to the children that were molested by Josh. And what I find so disturbing about the entire video is that the parents are so deluded that they literally switch the topics of their young daughters who got raped, molested, and they completely warp it to Josh and how Josh came to them when he first touched our girls in their sleep. He came to us and told us how sorry he was and was crying, and we just told him to pray and ask for forgiveness and to ask for God's strength. And it was at that point in our lives where we took the steps to make proper boundaries for Josh and to make it so he wouldn't do this again. But only a few months later, he came to us crying again, and this time he didn't just touch their clothes and their private parts, he actually touched their private parts without any clothes on. But it wasn't rape or anything like that. It was just a touch. Just a few touches. That is literally what these parents say. They say that it was just a few. It wasn't rape. It wasn't sexual abuse. He just touched them under their clothes, touched their skin and their private parts. So the entire situation escalated. He touched them with their clothes on and touched their breasts and things like that. He went to their parents and cried and was told to ask for forgiveness and go to God, and then he does the same thing again, only that it escalates in terms of the sexual abuse that he did. Throughout the entire video, they refer to him as, he's not a kid, he's not an adult, he's just a boy struggling. So completely forget about your daughters, the people who were sexually abused, and let's focus all on Josh and how sorry he really is. Quite frankly, I wish the victims, but because this is a religious household that he is in, the daughters who were sexually abused most likely are not going to speak out against that. Because believe me, in the realm of Christianity or any religion that tries to cover up sexual abuse, they will do anything, say anything, bribe people to keep the truth quiet from being revealed. The entire interview is literally Jim Bob and his mother, and the mother, justifying sexual abuse and molestation of their daughters by minimizing the victims who were actually sexually abused, by trying to portray Josh as the real victim. The real victim was our son who touched our girls, and we're so sorry that that happened. In the interview, they talk about, making household rules and creating a wall boundary that this wouldn't happen again, which makes me wonder what exactly they did to make sure that this didn't happen again, because obviously they did a shit job, and I believe it's the responsibility of parents, especially, to protect their children. And so what you should have done after it first happened is take the child out of the home and not keep the child there. It only happened 2 or 3 times of him touching your daughters before you woke the fuck up and took him out of the home, only to put him into a counseling center, specifically working with children or something to that level. He was put into some counseling thing, a therapist. Even after he admitted the sexual abuse, they put him working with people who are young. And that's what I don't understand. Then, of course, we have people like Eric Hovind jumping in and saying that if evolution is true, then Josh Duggar molesting those children is perfectly okay. So I'd like to give you a round of applause to the Duggar family for victimizing the sexual abuser, your son, justifying his actions when he's committed a crime, a legal crime, and anyone who tries to say sexually abusing someone or raping someone, molesting someone is a mistake, fuck off. These types of things are not mistakes to me. These types of crimes that are committed that takes away someone's innocence like this, they need to be held accountable to the highest end of the law in terms of punishment, in my personal opinion. When you take away the sexual abuse that happened to the actual victims of the sexual abuse and try to focus on the perpetrator who did these acts and try to make us feel sorry for him, you have become one of the most deluded families I think I have ever seen on the internet, much less in the religion of Christianity. And I'm literally sitting here still in awe from watching this interview. Again, it's linked down below. Watch it in full, and if you don't clench your fists in absolute anger at these parents and what they've said in this interview, when watching this interview, it made me almost want to cry from just how angry I was from seeing this. Hey, if there's one thing about religion that we do know, it's that it does a goddamn good job of covering up its own mistakes.